Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here today. My name is Brooke Visagie, and I am an Advisor Service Associate, or ASA, here at RPAG. I'd like to start by thanking you all for being RPAG members and also for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here today and learn more about our wonderful portal. Speaking of busy schedules, today we'll be talking about some efficiency tools available to you through your membership. Specifically, we'll take a look at meeting minutes and meeting agendas. Meeting minutes, as I'm sure you know, are an important way to document meaningful discussions, decisions, and key takeaways you have with your plan sponsors. Meeting agendas are an excellent way to set expectations and keep everyone on track. By utilizing RPAG's meeting minutes tool, you can save time by taking advantage of our autofill sections and sleek formatting. Saving time here will allow you to spend more time on the things that matter, like building client relationships and prospecting. I'd also like to encourage you to ask any questions you may have as we go through the presentation. And with that, let's get started. To run a meeting minutes report, you'll first need to go to the client you'd like to run the report for. Of course, we can access them by clicking on the Client Prospect tab right here in the quick bar menu, selecting our client name, and landing on their client detail page. You'll notice in the bottom right corner there's a widget for our meeting minutes, agenda, and 2 other efficiency tool reports. To start a meeting minutes report, all we have to do is click on the plus button next to the name. This will bring us to our Create Report page. The first thing we want to do when running a meeting minutes report is select the report type. We'll notice there's a couple options, and this is an important step. Our templates for reports are based on what kind of report type is selected. So if you go through and you make a template for your investment review meeting minutes, if you go to run a provider analysis meeting minutes, that template won't be available. And this is because those autofill sections are different based on the report. For today's demo, let's take a look at our investment review. Once we have our report type selected, we can select our report. One of these is already grayed out, and that's because a meeting minutes report was already run for it. You can only have 1 meeting minutes per report, but they're completely editable, so you can always go back, make your changes, and save off a fresh copy. Once that's selected, we'll notice there's 2 asterisk fields that we need to fill out before we can proceed. Our meeting date will automatically populate to today's date unless you selected a meeting date when creating the report. Of course, this is very easy to change just by clicking on the calendar icon and selecting another date. Our quarter and year is pulled from the report. And we can customize this further by choosing a client logo or company logo. Our next section takes care of meeting attendees. We'll notice that these contacts are pulled from your client detail page. If you're missing a contact, it could be because when you created it, you did not select committee or non-committee member as their contact type. That's very easy to change. You only need to click on Edit underneath their name, change their contact, and jump back into your meeting minutes. If you'd like to add a new contact, you can do so from this part by clicking on the plus button here, here, or here. Adding new contacts this way will add them to your client details page as a permanent contact. If you'd only like the person's name for the report, you can do that as well by clicking on the other down here on the right. This will allow you to enter just their name for your report instead of making a whole new contact. If you'd like to include other people from your firm, you can do so by clicking on this drop-down under Advisor Firm. You can also mark people absent if you would like. Once our attendees are squared away, we can take a look at our content. The first section is an administrative checklist that goes through different topics that could or could not have been discussed, and we can check and uncheck them as we'd like. We also have a section for any additional notes or commentary we'd like to include about those sections reviewed. The next part is our investment due diligence, and this is where our autofill sections really come into play. For instance, okay, let's try that again. For instance, our investment analysis summary, there we go, will fill out from our report that we generated. We can click and drag this bottom right corner to have a more complete view of the report. We'll notice we have our plan assets split up, our fund lineup, and potential replacements and watch lists that we made as well. This section is also editable, so if there's any additional commentary you'd like to add, you can do so by simply clicking in and making those changes. Another section that will auto-generate is our market summary. And this will pull into our current quarter year, but we can also change this to previous ones if we'd like. We can even add additional market commentary if we would like to compare previous quarters. This section is not editable, but if you would like to add your own market commentary, you can by clicking Custom Market Summary instead. In a similar vein, we also have our scorecard methodology available in short and extended format to keep everyone on track and keep your records straight with what these scores in your lineup mean. Similarly, we can also include custom investment methodology if we would so like. And lastly, we have a fund review. In the report that I ran for this example, there was an additional fund made. If you run your report and there's no considerations or no eliminations, this box will come up empty, but you can always click in and add your own comments if you'd like. And once more, we have a section for additional notes. Next up, we have fiduciary governance. This is module dependent. When you create your FIR, there are some modules you can include or exclude depending on your template or how long you really want the report to be. One of them is education. In this report, there was an education module, so selecting this will autofill it with a short summary of what that module was about. Again, this is editable, completely customizable, and up to you how to present. Another section that will auto-populate are legislative updates. It looks like our first quarter is not quite there yet, but luckily we ran this last quarter. So you can even add these again with previous quarter updates to compare and contrast them. We can also include a reviewed plan limits box that will have a nice table outlining what the plan limits are and current status on your output. We also have sections for demographics and plan fees, and this will pull from those teal cards on your plan detail page. If you would like to include more detailed plan fees, you can do so by selecting this box here. Lastly, we have custom sections. So if there's parts of a topic you went over in your meeting that doesn't quite fall under any of these, you can always add your own section by clicking on the plus button, typing in a header, a subheader, and your notes. You can make as many of these custom sections as you'd like. In fact, we might have noticed at the very beginning, there is even a report type for other. This will allow you to completely customize the report, but because there's no associated report, there won't be as many autofill sections. If we would like to remove any custom sections that we make, we can do so easily by clicking on Delete Section and hitting Confirm. We can even include follow-up tasks and assign them to members of our firm by checking the box next to it, selecting a due date, and selecting Assignee. You can create custom follow-up tasks in the same method as our custom sections by clicking on the plus button here. You might be asking, well, where is this going to show up? It'll actually populate on your landing page directly next to the spotlight, where you'll have a nice list of to-dos that you can check off and keep track of. Lastly, we can choose to publish to our fiduciary briefcase, exclude page numbers, and change the orientation. We now have 3 options. We can save as a template for other investment review meeting minutes. We can save and generate the report that will save this to that table on the client detail page and give us a PDF, or we can just save it to the PDF, or just save it to the table. Let's take a look at what this report might look like. Here we have an example meeting minutes report where we have our attendees listed at the top, our company and client logos, as well as the meeting dates, administrative review, our analysis summary, along with our market review, methodology, and governance sections. And here's our plan limits table. Does anyone have any questions on the meeting minutes? Yes?
Is that logo on the top right our logo?
Sorry, could you speak into the microphone?
On the top right, it said, I think it says company logo. Is that where our logo would be put in?
This would be the client's logo.
The client's logo.
Would be on the top
Okay.
right, and then your company logo on the left. Great question. Yes?
On the plan demographics, that information needs to be put in from the tile on the main page.
Yes, that's
Does
correct.
RPAG or any record keeper, do you guys have any intentions to sync that data? That, right now we're grabbing assets, but that information's out there. Is that possible right now on any record keeper? And if not, is that something you guys are working on?
There are a few record keepers that also send over plan participant count and advisor compensation. You can find that table of participating record keepers on the PAL overview, and that's available in the Resource Center underneath PAL, and it'll say PAL Overview. There'll be a list of what providers provide extra information like that.
How often do you guys consider other record keepers to start sending that information over? How does that process start?
We do ask for our record keepers to send as much as they can. Some elect not to, but if you have a specific record keeper that you're interested in getting more information from, you can write in directly to our PAL team and ask that they reach out and try to establish that new connection.
Thank you.
Of course. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, yes.
Is there a way to, I think the answer is no, but to have this just in like a text format you could pop into an email, or that, not that I'm saying that, it's probably not, it's too much data to accurately portray. And, yeah.
Quite a bit for an email. Yeah. That's why we like to compile
sometimes
it into a PDF.
Attachments get blocked, you know what I mean? So anyway, but that's just, thank you.
You could, in theory, copy and paste the generated boxes into the email like that, but there wouldn't be a complete text box. Awesome. Any other questions? All right, let's take a look.
One quick question.
Yes.
Is there a way to be able to have the formatting of that PDF cleaned up so we don't have a list of text on the first page that then gets separated and put below the heading of the next? We don't use this because we like to have it a little bit more presentable for clients, and there's just no way to have it look cleaned up right now that I can find.
So far, this is the current formatting, but if you alter the amount of text, like we said, these are editable sections, so if you want to cut down on that first investment analysis, you could probably take out a bit of the beginning or edit down your fund lineup as well. That would decrease the size of the text in that first box, and you could change it that way.
Sure. At some point in the future, would it be able to have this be, when we hit generate, put into a Word doc that's a little bit more edit friendly than a PDF as it is now? Because we can I can convert from a PDF to Word doc, but that usually breaks it too. Right.
Part of the points of our generated meeting minutes is so that you don't have to edit a Word document. So this kind of takes care of that with the automated formatting. As I said earlier, the best option would probably be to copy and paste those text boxes into a Word document if you'd like to create your own formatting.
Okay, thanks.
Yes?
It's such a great, robust tool for planned meetings. Any thought about doing something similar for wealth management reviews?
You could do wealth management reviews through this by using the report type custom or other. And then you could create custom sections with different headers and save that as a template. So then any other time you go to run these meeting minutes for wealth management, you can use that same template across any clients. Great question. Any other questions? All right, let's take a look at our meeting agendas then. We'll see also that our meeting minutes that we just made are right here. And our previous ones that we generated, we can easily get a new copy by clicking on this icon, or publish straight to our fiduciary briefcase by clicking on the briefcase. Our meeting agenda is created in the exact same way by clicking on the plus button next to the name. And this takes us to our Create Report page. We'll also want to select a report type for our meeting agenda, and this will slightly alter the language available that pre-populates. We'll notice again there's a custom option, so if you would like to add in your own details and your own formatting, we always encourage you to do that. For consistency's sake, let's take a look at our investment review agenda. We'll notice there are 2 asterisk fields we'll need to fill out before we continue, including our name, our report header, and then we'll want to select our meeting type. We can choose in-person, virtual, or if there's another service provider you'd like to use, you can use custom and enter their name that way. Once we select the meeting type, we'll also want to choose our date and time zone. And then we can move on to our attendee list. Our attendee list on the meeting agenda operates in the exact same way as it does in the meeting minutes. So if you'd like to add new contacts from here, you can do so. If you'd like to only add people for the report, you can do so. If you'd like to include others from your firm, you can do that too. You can also choose to select anyone that might potentially be absent or are expected to be absent from here as well. The sections that we do have automatically populated for this type are our meeting details, topics to discuss, and disclosures. Our topics to discuss will come from that report type that we selected and auto-generate here. Of course, if you'd like to enter anything else or change any details, you're welcome to do so by clicking in and editing. We can even add custom sections as well by clicking on the plus button here and creating a new section just like we did with our meeting minutes. Lastly, we can publish to our briefcase, change the orientation, save it just to our portal, or save and give us a PDF. And that's our meeting minutes, or our meeting agenda. Does anyone have any questions on this? Or we can take a look at what it looks like as well. Here's our output with our attendees, details, topics, and disclosures. Any questions about our meeting agenda? Awesome. We do have a bit more time, so let's take a look at the other two tools available to us on the portal. This would be our provider notice and our client advocacy report. Our provider notice is an email template, and this is a great tool that you can easily send any fund changes or recommendations you've made in your investment review right to the record keeper without having to worry about typing all that data up yourself. To start a new one, all we have to do is click on the plus button next to the name, select our investment review, and choose the RPAG standard template. You'll notice you can copy and paste the below text into an email to your record keeper, and you can always edit this as well. If you have additional information you'd like to include, feel free to do that and send this over. The beauty of this is that you can save this to your portal into that widget box. So now you have a nice paper trail of emails you've sent to your provider and what they contained. Any questions about the provider notice? Okay. And lastly, we have our client advocacy report. This is a relatively new tool for RPAG, and this we created by thinking of every possible service you could offer, listing it all out into a nice report that you can give to your plan sponsors at the beginning or end of the year, detailing the things you have done or plan to do for their plan. To start a new one, of course, we'll just click on the plus button, type in our name, select a template, and take a look at the autofill sections. If we pull and drag on the bottom right corner, we can see an expanded view. We'll also notice there's areas for us to fill out for our firm. A lot of them are listed in red, so they're easy to find and adjust. Once you're done entering all this information, you can save it as a template and use this client advocacy report for your other clients without having to refill in the information again. You can include other sections if you'd like, or exclude ones as you see fit, and even add in your own custom sections. Of course, all of these are completely editable, so if you would like to make any changes, you're free to do so. We can even include company logos, our company logo, and then we have options again to save as a template for our other clients, generate and download, or save and preview and save. All of these will give you something that looks like this. We have our nice letter to our plan sponsor, a sweet opening, and the rest of the information as we go down. Does anyone have any questions about the client advocacy report? Awesome.
I got a quick question.
Yes.
I haven't used this, I've seen it, but is that template updated annually? You know, kind of the beginning is, I think, kind of specific to the year, I think,
Yes.
if I recall correctly. So you guys do update that once a year?
We do update that typically after the first quarter, so it looks like this one is a bit out of date, or it could be because I ran it in the previous quarter. But again, it is editable, so we can always customize those intros if you'd like.
I saw fiduciary liability insurance, or so. Is there an area in RPAG that you can put like fidelity bond and fiduciary liability insurance and the amount and where all that is? Do you know?
There wouldn't be an autofill section for that, but if you wanted to include that kind of detail, you
Right.
could by typing it in manually in one of the editable boxes, or by creating a new section, a custom section. And then when you save that as a template, it'll appear for other reports too when you select that template.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you again for your time.